Yo, what's going on, guys? It is Fox98 here, and welcome back to a brand new video for you guys today here on the channel. And today, we are here with the launch of the Ferrari SF1000, the official car, as well as the livery, because all the other cars, all Mercedes and Haas, have ran with their just show cars. But if you guys do end up enjoying today's video, obviously feel free to drop it a like and subscribe if you're new around here as well. And as we get into it then, we're going to have a look mostly at the new bits that we can see on the car, because if we have a look at the livery, of course, it is the Ferrari SF Control-C, Control-V. Same livery as last year. Just a few little tweaks in there. There's on the engine cover, there's no black piece for that number that was on the back, and then the numbers itself just look a little bit different and a bit out of place in my opinion. But anyway, we're going to move straight on into it though. And for this video specifically, I'm going to be using the live shots or the live screenshots that I used to go through these, and then obviously the ones that the digital shots that we got, as I'm doing this intro and the outro, they'll be flicking through as we go along. But we're going to get into the live shot number one here. And first of all, we can see a nice detailed and a good looking shot here of the Ferrari SF1000. And a lot of very interesting aero pieces that are on this car, which in some senses are very, very interesting. But in some senses, I don't know, like I'm the F1 fan that likes a lot of cool aero pieces on a car, as long as it doesn't go over the top with it. Whereas some people I know like a much more basic type of car. With this one though, a lot of interesting aero pieces. And firstly, we're going to have a look at the things that are similar, and then we'll go on to the things that are completely different. So obviously, the front wing and the front nose are the same. Obviously, the front wing in particular, obviously Ferrari, Alfa Romeo and Toro Rosso went with this type of styled front wing where it was a completely different concept to what every other team had did. So they've obviously stuck to their guns on that one. And then obviously the front wing, they've had this sort of like step nose concept thing, or this little pokey out piece of the nose since 2016. So that hasn't changed. Didn't expect it to change. One thing that I'll say that I like about the Ferrari compared to the last year's livery is it looks a bit more, there's a bit more red with this Ferrari compared to the other one. The other one looked orange, whereas this one actually properly looks red, and that's nice because I didn't really like the one last year. It was a bit, it just looked too orange for me, but you know, that's probably just my own opinion. The things that I'm very much interested about are the new side pods, the new barge boards. There's also some pieces on the mirrors. The T-cam has got some flaps on it, and the T-wing is slightly different. A lot of cool, interesting pieces, and let's start having a look at them. You can see them mostly onto this one. So first things first, we'll go on to the smaller pieces. So next shot here, we have got the Ferrari flaps that I was on about. I'm going to call them the FF, the Ferrari Flaps. They're on the T-cam by here. You can see just above the halo, there are two little small flaps just in there. A lot of the times you tend to see these on cars, sometimes in practice, and then they just get taken off, whereas on this occasion it looks like it's going to be there permanently, and it's quite an interesting little look in there, and something quite fascinating to take into consideration for the Ferrari. I don't know, you know, it's very interesting how such small little pieces like that can make such an effective car. And obviously, if that small little piece at the top there gives it an extra bit of time on the stopwatch, then obviously you've got to go by what the stopwatch it says, which is quite interesting. Next little piece then, having a look from this shot, again you can see the FF at the top there, the Ferrari Flaps. The engine cover has once again got that like snail lump back thingy that they introduced from Spain onwards. It's a bit cheesy and weird. Obviously they implemented it in their Spanish upgrade last year, and it was obviously for a reason. It must have given them more performance, which is why they put it on there, otherwise they would have got rid of it by now. I don't know, I don't like that piece, but obviously it's there for a reason. But obviously the main piece to talk about is going to be the side pods and also the barge boards. So what I'm going to do is I have a picture of the SF90 up on my screen, just so I don't get confuzzled with what I'm actually saying. But first things first, the side pods, you can see have got a little bit narrower and have a completely different shape to it compared to the SF90. Having a look at the SF90 that I've got here, it was just literally a proper circular shaped side pod which extended out a little piece. This one looks like it goes back to that 2017 type of side pod theme that Ferrari had, and it's just very much interesting to see. It also has a little look of the Alpha. If we look at, if we go back to picture number 1 from the live shots, it just looks a bit more like that Alpha from 2019, last year's car, in fact. And it's very interesting to see that concept coming into play there compared to those. And then also the pieces that surround the outer part of the side pod. They've gone with the same thing as what Mercedes have done. Now, obviously, with Mercedes, they had the two little pieces. On the SF90, it's very hard to say because I'm not someone that knows, I don't know all these little pieces on a car, you know, other people do. I don't. But the Mercedes piece, it's sort of got that little cut in there, which Mercedes actually introduced onto their car last year. So obviously, you've got the side pod, and there's that little thing just next to the mirror that just sort of loops around. On the SF90, it was just one continuous piece. On this one, they split it up, same as Mercedes, to get potentially a different piece of aerodynamic advantage in there. Moving on then to the T-wing, and the next shot coming towards the rear of the car, there's a lot of cuts within the rear plate end fence, which is very interesting to note. I believe they had a lot of those on there last year, and they've implemented those again. Their T-wing has also taken a slight twist and has gone a little bit similar to Mercedes in terms of their T-wing. Now, where the T-wing starts and it sort of, you know, dips down, you can see that little dip in the middle piece. That's kind of the same. However, it's the other bit which is completely different. So it is very much a similar concept to Mercedes' T-wing from last year, because Ferrari's was very much a circular piece. So obviously, where the end piece of the T-wing just sort of dips down like as if it's a rear wing piece. On the Ferrari last year, it was just a circular bit. This time it's a bit more and just a little bit tweaked. So there's just a small little tiny piece of detail to implement into there onto the car for them. And then moving on to the next shot, again, the rear wing end plate has taken a slight little tweak from what it used to be. I'm just getting another picture up of the SF90, so again, I'm not confuzzled. They tried a couple of things with this one last year, but this time they've literally just gone with what is like a full rectangular piece with an L-shaped cut in there as well. Maybe they're going to bottle more races. Who knows? They might do. And then obviously they've got a tiny little flap on the end floor there just to try and change that up a little bit. And then the last shot that I actually want to go through is going to be from the digital shot here of the SF90 from a side-on perspective, literally because it's got a completely different rake look to it this time. It looks like it's got a much more steeper rake and it's going to be running very similar to what Red Bull are doing, which is quite fascinating to note in there. But I'm going to wrap up the video here, so if you guys have enjoyed today's video, feel free to drop it a like and subscribe to the channel if you're new around here as well. And until then, guys, I will see you for the next launch, which I believe is going to be McLaren on the 13th. But let me know what you think of the Ferrari and also obviously the new tweaks in there as well, because it'd be very interesting to see what you guys think. But until then, guys, thank you very much for watching. Take care all. Peace.